So, weather's changing, and I thought I would pop another talk of mine, considering that it's a little worse than what we thought in the area of thinking. Now, what we were trying to explain to you was that when that girl died with the rompigabesa, they reeled her in. Why? Because she had done such exceptional things in space sciences, mathematics, and physics that there were empty buildings around the world. Her name was Jamila, as in me. Now, what the reeling had done with the rompigabesa was create a broad ubers. In other words, the crumbs of that girl after the rompigabesa are the ubers. And because you are so beautiful and intelligent only in the US, which you're not, and because we thought we'd make a point out of her in history, 221 stupid times showed up. 221 simply means your 21st century stupid times. Now, considering that it's not England that's saying this about me, but 80 countries and 25 states, Connect the Dots Global, I don't have much to explain to the doofuses that surround me in the US. The reason I came back in this format is because of the rompigabesa. So, considering we call these the ghost children when an intel gets bashed his head in on the coastlines, we also call it the rompigabesa of all rompigabesas. Now, particular corn cobs are pretty easy, Ubermensch are pretty easy if you have such a child originally. And if other countries already had sustained that girl, or backed her, whatever you want to call her, when she was doing her job on the coastlines and elsewhere, when she died, she came back. And when she came back like this. Now, watching you giving me your opinions for something you haven't been near, meaning either the original girl, and I don't think you did, because you didn't. I don't think you actually met that girl. I don't think you met her because she wouldn't have looked at you if they paid her cash. Because all the flyings and runnings were not only for the parents. The flyings were for the parents and for herself when she was alive. And so were the runnings and flyings, because you are thick as sheets. So we're going to give you the chimp version of her after the rompigabesa. We're actually going to give you the Indios, the ballerina. Therefore, if you still haven't understood intelligence, and the boss of the joke is not us, it's you. Because the void is happening as we speak, and I don't remember where it is, California, do I? On the coast lines. I don't remember. The 80 countries and 25 states Connect the Dots Globals with the platinum hairs. And 9/11 was known to Intel. That's why they call it Intel and not dumbass. Why would they bring me back like this and send me to Connect the Dots Global when that girl was already dead with the rompigabesa, with 221 buildings? Why? Because there are beautiful buildings around the world that are empty, and they're not 9/11 banks, fucked up banks, ugly bitches. So when you speak about butt ugly, think about a rompigabesa on the coastlines and yourselves. Think about the platinum hairs with Nobel Prizes working on the shit I used to work with on the coastlines and elsewhere. Because that shit won't reopen for you if you pay it $1 trillion. And plus, considering that I went to high school with the president's kids for free, why? Considering I got out of high school at 15 for free, why? Why'd I go to Woolwich at 15? Why'd I go to college for free with an apartment paid for free at 15? Why? After all, I'm just dad. I'm not going to forget this. I'm not the parents. I don't have a good character. They are pioneer champions beyond capital cities. They give their medals and their cups and pioneer shit to others. To the other champions. So if they're bronze, they become silver. If they're silver, they become gold. As for me, after the rompigabesa, you have the emptier buildings. Now, the geniuses on the planet realized that that girl was going to get 221. They realized what she was doing. And they realized in Western Europe and in Russia, where my blood comes from, and Saudi Arabia, where my blood comes, and Turk, where my blood comes from, which I never went to. I never went to Turk. They said to me, you're the missing link, therefore do not go to Turk. You can go to Saudi Arabia and you can go to Moscow. You can go to England, you can go to Italy, you can go to all the countries. You cannot go to Greece, you cannot go to Romania, and you cannot go to Turkey. In fact, in the Mediterranean, those and other parts of the world, those are the three countries I did not visit. And the reason is, they didn't accept Book's theory. The reason is, that shit continues without me. Okay? And I'm the missing link. And as for the lazy Greeks, we get the idea. Now, considering that none of you are the best in the world, and I was, and considering all those buildings are empty because of my death and not yours, we are telling you how beautiful and but ugly you are after the rompicabezza of that girl. Because you didn't even know what that girl was doing. Even the members of the cabinet didn't know what we were doing. We were flying surroundings around the world in all those countries. With the platinum hairs by now. You bashed in the head of a girl who emptified physics, science, space science, and other sciences. And you're telling me that's usual in California because you're the best of the best. And yet all the corporations are in Western Europe and they ain't budging with their platinum hairs, and no, they ain't cancer. Including NASA. Therefore, when you bash that girl's head in, you just proved to everybody how ugly you are. Now, the hanging benches of Lara Quintas for the parents is something else. I was not born in pioneer camps beyond the capital cities like the parents. I was born in Italy. I was born in Rome for 2 high schools at stupid times. Unless you want to speak about the pig one with the president's kids for free at 3rd high school. I finished at 15 anyway. I was out of there. So when you speak about phenomenons in sciences or space or whatever you want to call it, I won't speak about it because that girl had her bashed in. And I'm not going to speak about it when I see the empty buildings around the world. I'm not going to speak about it if I see platinum hairs around the world because it's pointless. Just pointless for 221 to keep telling you the same motherfucking shit what you should have already seen coming anyway. And because you don't think of 221, you think that the losses are normal in the US. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to say it that way, but I'm going to say it in a different way. Hold on. I need to find the cigarettes here. Where's my cigarettes? My cigarettes vanished. Negative. So when you speak about beauty, I beg you, and you have attitude problems, to think twice about that girl. Because that girl, unfortunately, had to come back in this format just to tell you that you are thick as shit. Okay? Now, they managed with the rompicabezza to have a hole in the wall. A hole in the wall simply means a hole in the wall. Marlene, on the wall, watching you. Something like that, Susan Vega. Now, if I was conceived in Saudi Arabia, born in Rome, and went to Woolwich at the age of 15 for free, if I had already done 80 countries and 25 states, even on the crawlies before, if I was flying and then running, think for one little second, by now connect the dots global, think for one little second why I would have come back in this format. Well, there was a reason. So the emptier building stayed emptier because of the death. In other words, if the original Intel dies and the guys worked with her have the platinum hairs, it's unchangeable. It's not, doesn't mean that it's not thinking, it's just unchangeable. Alright? Of course, that's losses, but the losses happened in the US, in California, on the coastlines. They didn't happen in Rome. It's not that Rome is empty because I died in Rome. It's not that La Sapienza is empty with the beautiful buildings since first, second, and fifth floor. They're not literature. Look, if I had invented something like that in the capital cities, if I had invented Martin Snowden, the Bells of St. Martin with the blonde hairs of science and tech at the age of 15 or 16 in college, head of sciences and tech and space sciences, saying to me, I have just platinum heads. Shut up. And that's not Fresno area as your parents. Your parents are born in Pioneer County on the capital cities. Your parents have jobs, official jobs. They're directorates in humanitarian relief services. So in other words, you're just a full of shit, cheap shit. And it's so unusual, not only what you did to that girl, because that was the pits of all the pits that you could think of. And you talking to me about, and I'm going to say it right now, I'm just saying it, because I think you should hear it. If you look at Fresno areas, it's the pits of the U.S. as an area. The fame of Fresno precedes it, and my parents are retired there. And so the film of Scotland, I'm still pumping the film of Scotland. So it is unusual that a child has to fly and then run and then crawl that many times out of a place like Fresno, where it's the retirements of the parents, so that you can feel good about yourselves with the hanging benches and all the shit. That many times. So you can't deny it, okay? You can kill the baby, you can run pick a vessel the baby for hours and hours, literally. But you will lose. Why? It's a high school cliche. Better to lose with the most intelligent for evers and evers and have the platinum heads and the beautiful empty buildings, not some cheap ass, but ugly banks. Not my project. No, not mine. Than win with the stupids. And the unfortunate part was that the Chinese were saying that about me in high school. They used to say, the girl did some phenomenal shit. I'm not going to tell you no more, but you're back in this format. You had your head bashed in, and somewhere else there was a reeling, because if you're born over there and you went to school over there in stupid times, why did I go to Woolwich? 2 high schools in stupid time, meantime. Why did I go to Woolwich? Why didn't I, for those 3 high schools, or 2 high schools, why didn't I come to the US to college? Because I was too busy flying and running. In other words, you're a heap of shit. In other words, you making your opinion, civilian opinion about me, no. Because you didn't hang out with those guys. If you were sitting in the basement with those guys since the day you were born with the platinum heads, you can talk to me. Otherwise, you shut the fuck up. Because if I'm brain dead and I'm still doing that shit, then you're fucking cheap shit after the Rompi Cabeza. And that's not Fresno areas either. I don't know where the fuck you were born. I'm the best, I'm the most beautiful, I'm the most intelligent. Where Russia don't have intel, China don't have intel, they don't have intel, the Germans don't have intel, the Brits don't have intel, and the US has intel. That goes the passion, the whole goddamn fuck shit pull out. On the Ghost Flags with Bottom Hats. That was me, you fuck up. And it is official, yes. It's a social security number, isn't it? 221. That's pretty official. No, for what? You jackass. They don't even know. And if they do know, in California, I'm not even going to say it, because it's a negative. It's a negative. A Rompi Cabeza bashed in head on the Ghost Lines is a negative. Now that girl was phenomenal, of course they made negatives, as I said, somewhere else. They didn't make a particular court call, but they ain't going to reopen the beautiful buildings around the world. Not some cheap-ass facts. Now you're talking to me about something that's old news, on the news, says, around those capital cities, coming like a freight train. Everyone knew about it, about the Scotland film since I was a child, and you still have the audacity to judge me and audacity to speak about Fresno areas for the parents on retirements that many motherfucking times, to the hanging benches where they come from, and the hanging benches of law quitters that many motherfucking times? On Mark Crowley's? Are you ass? Where the fuck were you born? The Stone Age? Do you even get to the eggs? After the Rompi Cabeza? Oh my, what ladies of the house! They're talking about ladies of the house in Fresno areas. For the Barrett. Okay. Ok, I'm a drake poodle, va bene, grazie. I got ticks and all. Not literally. Jesus Christ. Now, you wonder why the t-shirts of Havana, why they speak about Fresno, I bum the shit out of them on the capital city. And don't give me the shit about the East Coast is different from the West Coast and just beating the shit out of the eggs back and forth. You don't scare me. I'm more scared of stupid people than I am of intelligence. But if there's agents who are bad, you still don't scare me. Because if you kill me, we're going to do worse than Rodney King. Otherwise, there would have been no point to bring back the pink ass. None. Because it would just show the stupidity and ugliness of the people in the US. Because there's only one country that has this fucking attitude with me in 80 countries and 25 states. The US. Namely, California. You have attitudes up your, I don't know what the hell attitude you have. You have attitudes. There's a reason and a purpose and a motive for existence. Either you are one of those, and then you have your head bashed in, and then you come back like this, or you have parents like that, or, who the fuck are you to have an attitude towards me, the 2 to 1? Goodbye, you retards, goodbye.